Hey everybody, it's John. Welcome to a new video series from my channel. I'm going to call it the Toy Table. This is the infamous table with the purple background where I do a lot of my toy photography, and I'm going to use it to kind of go over some of my favorite new toys that have come out recently or that I've picked up. Alright, so here we go with the very first episode of the Toy Table. Okay, the very first toys I want to talk about are the Reaction Silverhawks from Super 7. I love Silverhawks. When I was a kid, I was born in 1986, so Silverhawks were coming out 86, 87, and so by the time I was 4 or 5, they were pretty much a done thing. But there was surplus stock of these things that were being sold at discount stores and chains across the country. And we had a store where I was growing up called Farmore. It was kind of like a mix of a pharmacy with a grocery store and a video store. It was one of those things that kind of had everything. And so at this store, we found a whole bunch of Silverhawks. It was my older brother and I, with my mom, we were shopping, and we picked up all of them. We had the four main bad guys. We had Monstar, we had Mumbo Jumbo, Buzzsaw, and Molecular. And we picked up Quicksilver, Flashback, and feel like there was another good guy we picked up, but I don't remember off the top of my head right now. For some reason, it's slipping out of my mind. But we also picked up the giant Tallyhawk, and we found a coloring book too. So we had kind of like the toys, we had the backs of the cards, and we had the coloring books. And through all of that, we were able to figure out what this whole world was and play with it. We loved it, and I was always sad that I was never able to find any more growing up because the toy line had ended, the show wasn't on. I didn't even actually watch an episode of the cartoon until I found some stuff on YouTube. But then when I found that when the DVDs came out in the late 2000s, that's when I really was able to actually finally watch the show. And I love the show. I know a lot of people don't. They prefer Thundercats, think of Silverhawks as being weird. But I love the weird quirkiness of the 1980s detectives mixed with being Green Lantern type superheroes in this weird space universe where atmospheres don't really matter, and there's just lots of weird odd characters, but I love it all, from like the planet Automata, the banking planet with Lord Cash, the mob, I can't think of that, yeah, was it the light year limit, where everything's off limits to the cops, so anything can go down there. It was just a really good, creative, fun show. I loved the whole season. I wish it would have lasted longer, but I mean, 65 episodes of this was pretty cool. But anyways, I loved those toys. And so when Super 7 got the license for Silverhawks, I was immediately excited to get reaction figures, because this is going to be in that Star Wars scale, G.I. Joe scale, and that was going to be able to get a lot of figures cheaper than what they cost now. Because even if you try to find Steelheart here, just to get her regular figure from the 80s is really expensive. She's probably up there as like one of the most expensive figures besides the Series 2 stuff. So just being able to get these at a cheaper price, no matter what, but also you're getting pretty much the same articulation. The only difference being that the original figures had the pop-out arms for their wings to come out, but you're still basically getting 5 POA. That's what these have too. So if you look at Monstar here in his non-transformed form, his arms and legs go up and down, his legs go up and down, his neck turns. That's it. We have kind of a bendy loincloth here so he can sit perfectly fine, which is great. But like, you couldn't even get this figure in the original line. You could get Monstar with the transforming head like the Power Rangers did, but that was it, the morphin heads. But you couldn't get something like this. Even his hair was kind of like pulled back a little bit so that he could fit to transform. So just getting figures like this is awesome. But what I was really excited about to the scale was that you could get playsets. There was supposed to be a Hawkhaven playset to come out, but the line got canceled, so it was never produced. We just had that picture. But there's not a lot of 5-inch, 6-inch scale playsets that would fit Silverhawks specifically. You need some more kind of space kinds of stuff. And there just wasn't a lot of it. But in this scale, you have access to everything. Star Wars, G.I. Joe, and many other lines that were 3.75. A lot of, I can't think of that company that makes all of the cardboard kinds of playsets. They have two scales, a 6-inch and a 7.5 scale. So you have all of that stuff too. So I was really excited. And so we waited and waited and waited, and nothing was happening. The pandemic hit, so that kind of pushed things back some, but there was nothing. And so finally, we found out that this year we were going to get the first 4 figures. So I immediately grabbed them. Yes, they were $25 a figure, but again, think about how much these cost to get the vintage figures, and that's even to get like a decent quality one. I mean, to get one on card is going to be even more. So just think about that. And think about what you're still getting, minus height, you're still getting a really good deal. So I was really excited. I picked them all up, and apparently I was the only one who did, because it doesn't sound like there's going to be any more. So I'm kind of bummed about that. But I love these figures. We have Quicksilver, Steelheart, and then we have Bluegrass. His hat does come off. So we have the metal mohawk in here. Let's get back in view. There we go. And then we have Monstar. And then we also got 2 birds, Tallyhawk and I forget Steelheart's bird's name. We get her bird. And then this is either Sideman or Hot Licks. I think it's Hot Licks. So it's not exactly his battle bird, but it's his guitar that he had before he got his bird that became a guitar. But they all got their green Silverhawks logo on there, chrome metal, paint. It's just awesome. So if you haven't bought these yet and there's still some up on the Super 7's website, go get them. I mean, don't be complaining because they're reaction figures. Reaction figures have come a long way since when they first started. I remember when it was like more of a connection with Funko too, and I picked up the Snake Plissken figure. I mean, that figure was ridiculously cheap. It was thin. It was it like couldn't hold anything. It could barely stand up. It was a poor quality sculpt. It was just really cheap. These look like really good figures. They play like really good figures. They're really good sculpts. It's not bad. And you got to think about, money doesn't go as far as it used to anymore. And you got to think about these are made at a much lower run than if something sold on a national chain. So I know a lot of people complain about $25 for figures for reaction, but for what you're getting here, it's really not that bad. And if we can get this going, then we can get a whole bunch more figures that were never made for the series, like Yes Man, the guys from, Bin Laden? I can't think of that. The main planet, because they're not near Earth. So the main Bedlama, the place from Bedlama, Lord Cash, was a Professor Light with the light bulb head. There's so many great figures we never got. I would love to be able to make that whole universe. So the reaction Silverhawks, love them. Next thing I want to talk about, Masters of the Universe Origins. Specifically, these 2 figures of Despara and Catra. These are great. Let me see if I can move them kind of up here. Sorry, Despara. And Catra. And then Catra's cat form. These are really awesome figures. The Origins line, for me, it does kind of feel like it's getting long in the tooth now. And I love He-Man. He-Man's probably like my one favorite toy line. I loved the originals when the classics happened. I supported that as much as I could. Wasn't at a point where I could subscribe. I was in college at the time, so I couldn't get every single figure, but I cherry picked every single one that I could. When the line started, I bought 2 He-Mans, 2 Beastmans, 2 Skeletors, and those are the first 3 figures. I loved it. And then after college, I ended up having to sell that off to help pay off my college debt, but it did. It got me out of debt. And then when Origins got going, when I saw how many figures were happening there, I started getting into that. But now it feels like it's kind of getting close to the end, at least for me. I just don't feel like there's many figures that I still want. There's still many things that might pop up, like, man, that's cool, I want to get that. But it kind of feels like it's getting close to the end, especially because we're getting to the cartoon collection, and I haven't really liked the change of the molds for the figures for the cartoon collection, mainly the guys, because when you look here at Catra is using the female art animation or cartoon collection, and they seem like an upgrade. especially around their shoulder and bicep area. Whereas the original women have kind of like really thin arms. These just look much more in scale, and we got the better knees and everything. So the ladies still look great, and so I'm glad we're still getting some of the ladies here. And Despara is an awesome figure. Now my Despara does kind of have a little bit of a wonky eye on that. It's when you're looking at it, the right eye, but it's her left eye. It's a little odd, but you don't notice it too bad. And then her mask here to look like Hordak is great. I do have paint chipping that came out of the package that I need to cover up. But it's still pretty cool. And then this is the Super 7 Shadow Weaver that came out with their retro collection He-Man figures when they had the license. She fits right in with them. I know Mattel has a Shadow Weaver coming out, but I think what's the only difference? The elbows are going to bend. So, not to be too sarcastic about it, but she's still pretty good. And then Catra's cat figure form. It's a little on the small side, but it's still pretty cool. And then I really love these mini comics. When the mini comics first started for Origins, I wasn't too thrilled with them. I was like, this is kind of bare bones as far as what's happening here. But then last year I started going through and trying to put them all in order and read them, and I realized there really was kind of a continuity to it. It really was going in an order, and so I've much more enjoyed them now. Now on Despara's comic, I think I might be misremembering. One of these comics reference a story that hasn't happened yet. I think I'm misremembering. I think I'm thinking of that the Target or the exclusive Hordak with the chrome armor, Hurricane Hordak. He has one that referenced a comic that hasn't come out yet, so I'm still looking for that. But these all kind of line up with the resurgence of the horror that has happened recently. So if you put these all together, you're going to get a really cool story that's happening. So love these figures. Now let's move them to the side, and right behind them, kind of staring us down this whole time, we have the Super 7 Mumm-Ra. Now, let's move this up. I bought this for two reasons. One, to get a old man Mumm-Ra, because I have all the Funko Silverhawks figures. And so there is the Funko's Mumm-Ra. But this came with old man Mumm-Ra and a new version of Mumm-Ra in that He-Man style. Now look at this figure compared to that one. I thought that one was great when I got it, but then when I turned the package around and saw this, it's just awesome. It's an amazing figure. Even though it's trimmer, it looks bigger and better. The blues, the colors are much deeper and more vibrant. Old man Mumm-Ra, of course, he's big and bulky, but it's still just great to have this figure. And the main reason I got this is because the package really does become a playset. We have Mumm-Ra's tomb, his temple, and it's a transformation chamber. Now this had plastic all around it, and I cut most of it out. There's still a little bit here I need to go through and get out, but when you do that, this does become a playset. Mumm-Ra can go in here, and we can turn the knob that's back here. It's hard to do with one hand, but you can see it starting to move. I can turn that, and then he can transform. So it does become a nice little playset display area for your Thundercat bad guys. And then we even have some stuff here on the side. So if you want to have an inside area, you can have the hieroglyphs here of Mumm-Ra. So maybe Lionel's exploring the tomb and he finds this, explaining Mumm-Ra's secret. And then we got the cool Mumm-Ra logo on the back. Very, very cool. Now with tariffs, this became like an $80 thing. That, that's a whole nother story. But originally I think it was just like $50 for what it is. And that's really cool. For $50 or so, getting two figures and a display case playset, awesome. I love it. All right. Moving on to the middle here. Sorry, Silverhawks. Over the summer, I went to visit my college roommate in North Carolina. And while we were there, we went to Toy Federation. And we looked around. I was mainly looking for the 1994 Toy Biz Galactus because I have a bunch of the Marvel 375 figures, and I wanted to get a really cool figure to go with them, to be like a cool display shot. And Galactus, I mean, what's going to be bigger and better than that? They didn't have it. But we did see lots of Mighty Max, and he found the Mighty Max set that he had as a kid. And the one that I had was there too, but for some reason I didn't pick it up. But after we had left, I realized, man, I really wish I went back and got that. And so I immediately went on eBay, made orders, and found my old stuff and bought it and had it shipped. And then once it got here, I just couldn't stop. So this was kind of the first thing that arrived. This I picked up on Amazon. It's that Collector X kind of stuff where there's slime and everything, and you cut stuff open and get gold pieces and all kinds of stuff. So this is a kind of jungle area playset, and under this temple area there's a slime vat, and this green slime is great. And so you could fall into that or flip it over so it becomes a temple. There was the skeleton covered in, or skull covered in slime with the snake head. That's supposed to be the treasure that pops out. Like you can find it, you can buy this a couple times and maybe you'll get like one that has the gold version. That's what you're hoping for. It pops out of this purple treasure container. That spider is the key. When you push it in, it pops open. And then you got this Venus flytrap monster. And then right here is where the spider key would go. So your character would need to start it here, go up, go around, make it across, get in here without getting eaten, and then get up here, open the treasure, drop it down, make it through the slime of the snakes, and get your treasure, right? So it's a cool kind of Mighty Max-ish playset. And it came with these two fluorescent green figures. That guy kind of looks like Man-Thing, like a little cutesy Japan anime version of Man-Thing, and then we got this turtle guy. So that showed up first, just to kind of get wet my whistle, wet my appetite for Mighty Max. And then, this is the playset I had as a kid. And I was able to get it brand new on package, and I opened it because I'm a monster. And I hate collectors, blah, blah, blah. No. I opened it because I wanted to. And so you got this robot bounty hunter guy. He's got this portable battle station that he can fly around on, or Max can get on. And then this is what his head's supposed to actually look like, so you can kind of see who this person is. When you open this up, there's not much to do here. There's some techno-organic parts and pieces. Maybe that's a dead robot down there, or a couple dead robots, and some stuff up here. But honestly, this is just becomes like the parking place for his battle platform, and then he can get on it and travel around, or Max could beat him to it and get on it, and then Max can fight this guy until his hat gets him out of there, right? So I got that, and it's like, man, this stuff is so cool, I want to get more. So I went onto eBay, and of course the biggest thing that you can get, Skull Mountain. Now this is not a complete Skull Mountain, it didn't come with any figures, but it came with the majority of the playset. I've always thought this playset was awesome because it's like Castle Grayskull on crack, but for minifigures. Now I went through with some paint and I touched up some of the details on here because there's so many unpainted details around here that I just wanted to pop some of it out. So skeletons, spider webs, chains, spiders, people being eaten by spiders, all kinds of little neat things are just hidden below the radar. But the paint was all in great quality. Like, there's no chipping, there's no fading. I loved the way this one looked. I think I paid like $20, $30 altogether, not counting shipping. So I got that. And then it's like, well, I need some more figures to go with this. So after I picked this up, I found a pack of figures being sold. And this was a $20 price range too. So we got this lizard creature warrior. I don't know what set he's supposed to come with, but he came here. We got a Skullmaster. And this is the cartoon version Skullmaster, not the one that would have come with this set, and then I got a Norman. Now, Normans, I was really particular with the Norman. I wanted one that was ready to fight, because there's one that's kind of in a standing, kind of, you know, hands to your side pose. And then there's one that has, like, he looks like he could be holding something, but you got to get him with the stuff that he can hold that will actually fit into his hand. It came with one of the, there was a set of play sets that were also figures that opened up. So he came with one of those, and they could actually share the accessories, he and the giant figure. And then there was this one. And so this one, these all three came together, so it seemed like a great time to get that. So I got Norman Skullmaster and then the Lizard Warrior. And then, as I was looking stuff up, I found out that there was a fan who had continued on the Mighty Max storyline, and he was working with a company in Taiwan to make the figures. And so there's a continuation of the Mighty Max storyline, and it's called Rover Robin. And so Rover Robin is set in a time where Max has disappeared. And if you look here, this playset is his hat. Basically, if it's Skullmaster or some other deeper evil, the artwork made it seem like it was Skullmaster, has reached through the hat to pull Max. If you tell this is his bedroom, you got the TVs, and you have Thor, his lizard, comic books, and stuff over the floor, have pulled into his bedroom, and Max is able to rip one of the teeth out of the hat. You can tell where the tooth is supposed to be. He has ripped one of the teeth out of the hat to try to fight against it, but he gets sucked in, but then he gets taken over, and he becomes a possessed Mighty Max, and he has like a squid tentacly face. That figure is like a chase variant that they packed in with some people who did some pre-orders. I don't know if they plan on releasing it again later, or if you just had to hunt those down. That's pretty cool. But in the meantime, Rover Robin, this is years in the future, he's a kid who, he has wearing a hat, but he also has like a Game Boy kind of thing that he finds that he's using to help find Max and try to save everything. So he has adventures he's going on. This was one of his first sets he came with, where he is in a dark woods, and he comes across Rudolph, who has become evil and is ready to fight. So I grabbed both of those. And then the final Mighty Max thing that I did, there is a website, and it's not coming to mind at the moment, but it's where you can go and create figures for Dungeons and Dragons and all kind of miniature kinds of games, and I used it for that a lot. Just to make your own miniatures for that. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go and see if I can make a Mighty Max scaled figure. So I did, and this is supposed to be a Mighty Max figure of myself if I was part of the toy line. It's hard to tell. I got the orange hair on there, and hopefully you can see under that hat, I have 3D glasses, and I'm holding this text, this book. And so I love comic books. I'm a teacher, I do a comic book club in my school, so it made sense for me to do something comic related, especially since this is the 90s, so it'd be kind of fad with 3D comics. So this is 3D John, and 3D John is like some slacker kid who hangs out at the comic shop all the time, and he's always wearing 3D glasses, even when he's not reading comics, and he's like a buddy of Max, not necessarily a role model at all, more just like a loser kind of guy that Max kind of enjoys the company of. And so he is out here helping Max and Norman, and eventually Virgil when I get a Virgil. And my gimmick I gave my guy was that I used my 3D glasses to be able to find secrets of these ancient texts, to be able to help them find the escape portals in their zone. So yeah, Virgil kind of fills that void with the scrolls, but maybe if Virgil's in a tight spot, now I can help handle that, so he can put me in the right direction, and I could be busy figuring that out like a Mr. Magoo, totally not knowing all the danger around me. So I made myself as a Mighty Max character. Yeah, pretty fun. And when I post the video, I'll put the link to what that Hero Forge. That's what it is. HeroForge.com. You can go and make your own minis. And like this was bought, like the colors were already done. I didn't have to paint this. It was already done. So it's more expensive. I think it was $50 altogether for that figure. But yeah, I think it was worth it. So I'm gonna make some more. All right. The last thing I want to talk about, this one's more of a sad one, and that is superpowers. I love the DC Superpowers figures. When McFarlane came out with the new figures, I was bummed because I hated them. The first three, we had the Batman, the Superman, and the Darkseid. The Darkseid was cool, and I did get the Darkseid, but I didn't buy the Batman and Superman. I thought they were just awful. They looked ridiculous. Bad scales, like chest, the legs being too close together. It just all looked dumb and awful. Eventually, the line got better, and I bought a whole bunch of them. I was not able to find the Reverse Flash Walmart exclusive figure, but I was able to get a lot. Pretty much every figure that I've wanted, I've been able to get so far. There's still the 3-pack of Peacemaker that I didn't get at the time, but now I'm going to try to get. But I've gotten pretty much everything else I've wanted. Well, these were the final 4 figures that are going to be made. And so I picked them up. We have Deadman. And we have our 3rd version of Nightwing. This is probably the best version of Nightwing we've gotten. And you can tell these both have pretty much the same sculpt, just with the different size of our collars. And then Cyborg, non-chrome, but it seems to be pretty much based off that original late line 80s figure of Cyborg. So it's cool to actually get him. And then Animal Man. Animal Man's a bit bulkier than I would have wanted in the chest area. It might be hard to tell in the jacket. I wish he had been more trim. See, this looks, I don't know, a little puffy. I mean, look at his quads and his chest. Maybe they just need to use that torso some more. And so the figure, since it was under a jacket, we wouldn't care too much. And you're right, I don't care too much. He's got the Green Lantern arms, so he could be holding a lantern. Yeah. So I got these 4 figures. They sold out quick, and that depressed me, because I love making customs, and my favorite custom that I've been able to make right now is from Flash Max Mercury, and I made one using a whole bunch of old Kenner parts, but seeing this Nightwing, it's like, man, this will be the perfect one to use for an upgrade, just to make it more in line with these figures, because all I have to do is just paint the torso and the arms white, and then just replace the head, and then fix the boots a little bit. It's perfect scale, perfect size. It's already got the collar and everything, but they all sold out so fast. I couldn't get it, because I was going to get 2 of the Nightwings and then 1 of everything else, but by the time I got there, everything was gone, so I had to buy the 4-pack, and that's it. So, lots of really cool stuff here at the toy table. Hope you enjoyed this. I guess every once in a while I'm just going to update this with some of my favorite figures that I picked up recently. All right. Keep buying toys. Have fun. Even if Toyland start to get to an end, it's okay. There's always going to be something else. All right. See you next time.